Hello, everybody. My name is Nicholas Mahalik, and today I'm going to be presenting about the SDG number 10, which is the Sustainable Development Goal number 10, Reduced Inequalities. So, I want to go first to my first data story. This is going to be about the history of Pride Month in the United States. Actually, on June 28th, 1969, the New York Police Department raided the Stonewall Inn LGBTQ club in Greenwich Village in Manhattan. The patrons, tired of being unfairly targeted, revolted against the police. The crowd began throwing bottles as police forcibly arrested and hauled people into the street, and the protests continued throughout the neighborhood and sparked additional protests for 6 days. The event is known today as the Stonewall Uprising and became a catalyst for the gay rights movement worldwide. So as you can see, the LGBTQ progress. This graph shows that the first Pride Parade in 1970 led to um, in 1973, based on like the current research, they showed that homosexuality is not an illness. It was just something that um, was believed before. Then civil unions legalized in Vermont in 2000, the year 2000. Then the Shepherd Bayard Act passed. Then you can see like in 2011, 2013, there's more things passed, and then the same-sex marriage one is very important in 2015. Then the LGBTQ sweep in the midterms, where more than 150 LGBTQ candidates in 2018 were actually elected into office in the midterm elections. And then the Equality Act was passed in the House in 2019. And finally, 2020, Title V2 protections were extended. So here it shows like bullying and the surveillance system for young people. So bisexuals this year, like at least 30% were bullied at school in the past year, and then electronically bullied was 26.08%. Difficulty concentrating on making decisions is really high at 66.52%. These are just some examples of what some LGBTQ members suffer in society. The next thing I wanted to show was a an article about women's rights and about a century of women's suffrage. So August 26, 2020 marks the 100th anniversary of the certification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The 19th Amendment states that the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Um, Mississippi was actually the last state to ratify the 19th Amendment. The map below shows which states initially ratified the 19th Amendment and which states didn't. Um, it's important to notice that some states already supported women's rights to vote before the amendment was passed, but some women faced challenges exercising their vote even after the amendment was passed. So we can see, like as an example, like in North Carolina, it was passed in May 6, 1971, and in South Carolina, it was passed in 1969. So 15 states actually allowed women to vote before the 19th Amendment. Between 1867 and 1920, the following states below actually allowed women to vote. So you can see Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona, and multiple others that you see here. Men and women of color were active in the suffrage movement. Some black women tended to focus on the belief that suffrage should be granted to all people, regardless of gender and race. And it was just very different for them. Um, Here I have some statistics. And now I'm going to mainly focus on Japan and the share of adults reporting having felt discriminated against in 2020. So, Japan actually here, um, in the labor share of gross domestic product, there's 56.8%, which differs from the United States, where it's 60.4%. And then the next thing I wanted to show is actually my X Mind graph for the SDG number 10 for reduced inequalities. So, number one, we should improve the quality of life. Sustainable practices must be put into place, and volunteering can help those in need. We have to reduce waste, recycle, and reuse. And then, number two, we have to ensure equal pay. Every child should have the opportunity to attend school as well. Doing this is only possible with collaboration and cooperation, um, with the federal government and state government working. And then we also need creative problem solving from creative minds. Number three, we have eliminate discriminatory laws. No tariffs and fees should be put on immigrant remittances, and social protection policies should be put into place to make sure that nobody's being discriminated. And then lastly, we must make financial institutions accountable for any errors that they make, um, in their decision making. And then for the solutions that I am wanting to implement and I came up with are just for people to be more aware of how other people get treated differently from each other, and then also to be educated on the history of women's rights, of LGBTQ rights, and of men and women of color, because it's very important for everybody to know, um, that people have different histories, and being able to understand each other is very important. We also need policies in our government that are not favored to one group of people, may it be by color or even just, like the people, the 1% on the top that are rich, or the people in the middle, or at the bottom. But in general, the government must work together with the people to find policies that work for everybody. And yeah, that is everything I have for today. Thank you very much, and have a good night.